Hello, welcome back to Uncle Benny's Garage. This is a little hand cart for the train. Alright, its old-timey name is called a Gandy dancer. That's fun to say. This was given to me by Joan for my birthday. Thank you, Joan. The problem with it is that it doesn't work. Now, these haven't been made in a long time. I think they discontinued them in 2014, 2017-ish, somewhere around there. So I know she got this used online. But when it got here, it didn't work. Ugh. I put it on, didn't go. I didn't want to tell her right away because she was really happy to give it to me and I was really happy to receive it. I figured, you know what, I'll see if I can fix it and then I'll be like, oh, hey, funny story, it didn't work. So this episode is all about why it didn't work and how I managed to fix it. Spoiler alert, I fixed it. Alright, here it is. Got two little guys, ding, 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 and they go down the road, and they're pulling this little guy. He must be the boss. So, this guy is good. This guy is not working. Okay, well, let's nothing. Okay. And you see this gear has a crack in it right there. Does that open? I don't want to mess with that too much. Okay. These seem to turn. There's these big power rails right here. Okay. Now, what happened over here? Let's see. So there's a gear here. This is the gear that makes the little guys go. Let's set that down. So it's a cover. It looks okay. And this is our thing. There's a screw stuck here. Did I just pick that up? Well, I guess so. Turns. There's little wires here. So, geez, I don't know. Can you? These brushes should be touching this middle part, and that's what transfers the power to the motor magnets. And they are not touching. They're all the way in. They are not touching. This side here looks like it's gotten hot. This little tab on the wire has been kind of melted into that a little bit. Maybe that's, I don't know. Let's see. And then what's this side? Does it come out? Does it unscrew? What happens? There it is. Okay. So
there's usually like a little spring and it pushes the brush out. Is there a brush in there and it just, maybe the spring died? Oh, no, wait. Come on. Come on. Oh, there it went. So this is the remainder of the brush. There's like a little collar in there. Is that it? Okay, now that I pulled those out, this is suddenly very hard to turn. Why is this suddenly very hard to turn? Oh, because the little end was coming off. I think when this got hot over here, it did something under here, and the motor seems like it goes okay. You can see some little rubby marks along here, like maybe as it gets dirty in there and there's not as much clearance. I'll blow this all out before I put it back together. Okay, so I'm guessing it's these little brushes, and I gotta see if you can get more of them. I don't know if this motor's burnt up. I gotta look into that, and then if I can get it fixed that easy, that's great. There's some other things. There's little cracks in these things where the screws go in. There's a big crack, and like this one, and they're all like that. I'll have to figure out what to do about that. I got a crack in this gear. The rest of this chassis doesn't look too bad. I don't know how to pull these wheels apart to fix that gear. The little trailer looks pretty good. I'm gonna clean it up. Everything will be fine. I don't want to mess with that too much. And then, yeah. All right. So motor thing. That's first. Okay, it's actually been like a couple of months since I started this. I should just start all over again. The reason being is, so I came up with a couple of options, and then I had to order some stuff. Well, in the meantime, Joan came back from out of town, and then she actually left again, but I just didn't get back to this stuff. I was working on a camper and some other things. Now she's gone again, and I'm like, I got to get going on this, because sooner or later she's going to come back and be like, hey, have you played with your new thing? And I'm going to be like, no. Here's where we are. Okay, so I came up with the other motor had burnt out little contacts, little brushes. And I went online. I asked the Facebook group and whatnot, and I got no response. Hey, does anybody know, where I can get motor, where I can get the things? I'm looking all over the place. So the other option I came up with was I couldn't find the little brushes, the tiny for that size. They're like 2 millimeters across, and the little things that they go in are these right here. That's what holds them in the little thing. So I was like, well, I can get bigger brushes. Maybe I can file them down. I can sand them down, that kind of a thing. So I got some brushes. Where are they? And these are big. These are for, I don't know, some kind of power tool or something. They were cheap. You buy a bunch of them to get them. But what I wasn't thinking of was, don't lose that, the spring. The spring is too big on these because it's got to fit in the little thing. And then, so I'm looking all over for these springs. And then I found some tiny springs, but they were real stiff. And I'm like, the springs that came out of this, one of them was in pieces. The other one flung off the tweezers and I lost them. They're tiny and they're super soft as well. If you squish in too strong of a spring, it's just going to push that brush down against the motor and it's just going to grind it down super fast. So I was like, okay. But I did find some tiny little springs And I'm like, well, they're kind of soft. It just takes forever. I don't know if there's specifications or certain words you should use for like what kind of spring you want. These are a little stiff as well, but I was like, oh, maybe I'll try them. And they just perfectly fit in the little thing. But again, I think that's too stiff. I think I'm not going to get a whole lot of brush in there before it compacts enough, and then it's going to be pushing so hard on that brush. So that's that. But then, and I don't know, the internet's dumb. I'm searching for a couple of weeks. I'm looking for alternate motors and trying to search by size, and I had all the dimensions written down of the motor. I had the shaft size and the everything, because it's got to fit into this. Nothing. I'm getting desperate. That's why I'm just buying random things. But then one random search, again, I'm at work, sitting around on my phone, and I came up with, it had never popped up, it's the same search before, just scrolling through, Northwest Short Line. It's a store, it's like a train store somewhere, and I'll try and find their link or something like that. I didn't get this for free or anything. I bought it. Let's say it was like $20 or whatever like that. But I found it's about as close a motor as I could find to the original specs that I got. This is a 16 by 30. The original one was, I don't know, 18 by 31. Yeah. So I mean, it's close. It's very close. And I don't know if it's as powerful. I don't know what, but it's got the same shaft, double shaft, and so I think if I'm going to replace it, I'm going to retrofit the motor. From what I've found, this is my best bet. And if it works out, obviously, then you'll know about this motor too. And it was $24.95. And Northwest Short Line is in Keela, MT. Is that Montana? 59920. Yeah. Now look them up online if this works out. But we'll see. So before I go back to trying to make brushes for the other thing again, I'm going to see if this works. So one of the differences of this motor to this motor, at least that you can see, is that the shafts aren't quite as long as the shafts on the other motor. But I think there's enough that we'll be able to put these gears on here and just have them stick off a little bit and do that. Now, I've never done this. I went online. Someone said you heat these a little bit and they should come right off. They're brass or bronze or something. And everybody who was giving me tips on it was giving me tips like I didn't want to hurt the motor. But what I don't want to hurt is the gears. So, all right, first thing I want to do is get a measurement in case something's wonky later. These are supposed to be 50, 51, 52, 53.2. We'll say 53.2, 53.24, something around there. End to end. 53.24. I'm going to write that down in case I need to know it. Oh, there it is. Just need a little better holding power. Ow, it's hot. Don't think I'm going to save this motor now. Uh-oh. It's
whole shaft is coming out. So I'm gonna need, what do I need? Yeah, I'm ruining the shaft, but and there it is, melting through the. Ow, ow, little warm, little warm. All right, so I got 2 gears. Now they're all covered in melty stuff and kind of marred up, so I'm gonna have to fix that. Look at that, the old shaft was actually shorter than this one. Good thing I took that measurement. Ta-da! All right, I want to pause here for just a second so I can explain to you one of the things I did. Now, the old motor, the edge of it only comes up a certain amount, and then this is where the brushes and the wires stuck out, and then the end. The new one, the case, goes all the way the full length of the motor, and then the tabs for the electrical connections stick past that. Well, how this fits into that little plastic cover holder shroud thing, those connections are in the way. It won't fit. So I tried a couple of different things. I bent them out, tried soldering on the back side. Nothing really seemed to be perfect for me. So what I ended up doing was I drilled 2 holes, one in the black cover at the spot where the top wire sticks out, and one in the little tab sticking up in the gray and the underside of the deck of the thing, and that way they can come out, but then they got to bend right away because there is a gear, a drive gear, right there on the end. And that's how I fit the new motor without having to draw or print or make some kind of new case for it.
Okay. We'll have that. Right. Then, that's over there. And this piece. Alright, I had to file out this hole a little bit here to get this wire to come over a little bit, but I got it to where it sits down without binding. So I know it's not pushing on the gear. I know it's not pushing on here. There's other stuff that's got to go in here, but I needed to get this to fit right. And then I got the wires to go, and they actually just go here and here. And I got the little tabs on the old wires to do that. So, geez, what's next? Let's put this thing together. So another issue, I don't know if you can see, these little posts right here have little cracks in them because from the screws. Right there, right there. I think we need to do something about that. And these go over those, I think. Or do they go in the middle? I think they go in the middle. Anyway, need to do something about that. I'm going to put a little glue on them and maybe like a wrap. Give them some strength. Alright, I'm going to clean it. Yeah. Alright, now we turn our attention to the little carriage part. So there's a drive gear on each axle. And then on this one there's this other little gear, and that's the gear that turns the wheels to turn the top guys. Now this little gear has a crack in it. And luckily, on the website, even though this is discontinued, you can still get that gear. I must use it in something else, and it's still there. So you just look at the exploded parts diagram, boom, 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 and there's some of those little parts you can still get. Even though you can't get the motor assembly, you can't get other stuff. So I got one of the drive gears, and I got that little gear. Now I just got to figure out how to pull this axle apart without ruining it. Oh, it just pulls apart. It pulls off this little nylon thing in the middle, which also kind of looks cracked, but you know, we're gonna try and fix that too. So this little gear just slides off. All right, well geez, that was easy. Let's see, where is it? It's this little one. This one doesn't want to go on. Maybe it's a tighter fit. Did I crack it or did it just go? Looks like it just went. Okay, that's what the crack looks like right there, see? And then that's what we did to kind of give it some support and make sure it's not going to go anywhere. Right, so at this point, I got the little case back on around these gears, and these gears are doing their job. They move the little guys, which is nice. I soldered the other ends on the two wires, and of course this one I had to do twice because the little hole I drilled for it to go through wasn't big enough for the end, so I had to take it back off and whatever. Then I don't know if I lost it or if it was lost before, but one of the screws for this I couldn't find, so I found another one. This seems to be in place. None of this is binding, I think. And now I got to put the carriage on. Oh! Hey! Oh, it's working. It does sound like something's rubbing. And I wonder if it's the gear right by that wire. We're going to double check that. I'm going to scooch this gear out just a little bit so it's more even with that one. Woohoo! Oh boy! People say, hey, you have an outside train? That must take a lot of upkeep. How do you clean the track? About like that. Oh man, I'm so happy. She gave me this, and I was really happy to get it. Again, so she got it on eBay, and I don't know if it was sold for parts or if the guy was just selling a junky one or what. And I certainly didn't want to upset Joan and be like, "Oh man, you gave me something broken." So glad that I could fix it. But also, you know, when you're first looking online, there's a ton of people getting rid of these things because they wear out. There was some issues with them new. I'm glad I found a solution. This little motor works. We'll see how long it goes before it, I don't know, dies. But it seems to be going good now. Once it did a couple loops on the track and got all the dirt and dust off the track, man, it's going great. Good contact. Seems to be running nice and smooth. I'm super happy. Could not be happier. Let me say that one more time. I could not be happier. You know, the guy in the back, I kind of want him to hold a little lantern and put a little light on it or something. Either way, that's the perfect thing for this top little circle track. While the main line's going around and then this one's going the opposite direction. Yeah. Oh man, I'm happy. Okay, so if you got one of these and it's not working great, I'm gonna try and put a link up. If the link doesn't work, it might be one that you have to copy and paste. I don't know. Either way, it's I'll make sure to put up when I'm talking about it on the screen and everything. Where I got this motor from, it was only like 20-25 bucks. Got here really fast. I just took forever to get back to it. If you enjoyed any part of this or found it useful, please give me a like. Subscribe if you want to. I don't just do train stuff, but I'm hoping to do more. Want to build a bridge over there once it cools down. Got some other stuff. I'm making a circus that goes on the other side over here. I want to put lights in the tunnel. All sorts of stuff. Anyway, hey, thanks for watching. And Joan, thank you for my birthday present. I love it.